Wow. Headphones. Headphones. Change the camera. Carol's early. Blimey. Gordon Ann. Gordon Ann.
Wouldn't it?
Gordon Ann.
Hello, Dave.
Oh, you made. You made me. You scared me. You did.
Sorry. The host has asked you to start your video. Start my video. There we go.
Hang on.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, that's better. I was just. Oh my gosh.
What's happening here?
I don't know.
Oh.
Gord's got his head on.
Sorry, I haven't done my queen. I've worked all weekend really hard. It's driven me mad, and I'm going to do it again. It's awful.
It's all part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's worn me out. I get so tired doing it.
Who was it? Christine sent me hers.
She gets through hers really quick, doesn't she?
Well, that's what I was just going to. You preempted what I was going to say there, because she's talking to her on Facebook at the time. She said took her all day.
Yeah.
She spent all day on that.
Oh gosh.
And she's still got stuff to do, to finish it off now. She's still going to tweak the eyes because they were a bit too blue and all that.
Oh, I know. Morning. I know the eyes were quite hard to do, weren't they? I don't think I got my drawing quite right. Peter kept laughing at it. He said, she doesn't look right. So, I just got fed up in the end.
I found it fascinating.
Oh yeah, but because I've got to have other things to do, so I haven't got sort of too long to get it done. I feel a bit under pressure, so I'm going to slow down. If it takes me longer, it takes longer.
Oh, agree. Yeah, there's no. I mean, I haven't done the background on mine yet. I'm looking at it constantly, looking at it on the easel and thinking, go on, and then I think, oh, hang on, I'll do it later. I'll have a little.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm not going to do mine because I thought I'll only mess it up. So I'm just going to leave mine blank.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I was looking at mine just now thinking, well, maybe if I just sort of feather a few, feather a few light washes around the background, it'll look like what it is.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
So I might do that. I was more concerned about getting the teeth and the eyes nice.
My teeth came out a terrible colour.
They're really hard.
Oh God. I thought, well, shall I just do her smiling with no teeth showing? I might abbreviate. Or shall I find another picture?
No,
I kept rubbing the mouth out and having another go, and I must have rubbed it out about 10 times.
Even though you do the grid, it's still hard. I hadn't got her chip round here, her cheeks right. Oh dear, oh dear.
I think one thing I learned was that the colour behind the teeth in the mouth, it's flesh.
Oh, not brownie. Yeah.
Well, you can.
Morning.
All your gums are flesh, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's a darker version of, and your lips are flesh as well.
Yeah. So once I think, and because she's sort of on the side, you've got to get one side longer than the other, haven't you? It's quite difficult.
We're talking about now, by any chance?
Yeah. So I'm throwing mine out. I got to start again. It was horrendous.
Oh.
I spent so much time on it. It's given me a headache.
Oh dear.
No, I told I was saying, Chrissy, that I told them that you'd spent. You said, "God, spent bloody all day on this."
I know.
7.5 hours.
Yeah.
A 10-minute sandwich break.
Brilliant, though, isn't it?
Oh.
How to
I
pass
enjoyed
it.
it.
I did as well.
Yeah, no, they all look lovely. They were very good.
Yeah, I think when you flick through them, you think, "Wow, yeah, oh," because I can do that on my
On
my
your
computer,
screen.
on my
Yeah.
screen. I can sort of go through the different images.
Mm,
It's almost like a little slideshow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
it's
can
good.
sort of, I know I was doing it the other day, and I was saying, "Cool, the Queen's going to like that one. She's lost a lot of weight in there." It's like it's been away
Mine
with.
was all fat round here. And I thought, oh God, I don't know. Oh.
Well, I've been pondering about today's subject. To tell you the truth.
That's going to be nice and easy, isn't it?
He said.
Hello, hi.
Morning, Anne.
I think
Hi, Anne.
I'm going to stop saying that.
Yeah, none of it's easy, is it?
Yeah.
No, it flipping ain't. Every
If it
time
was easy, we'd all be brilliant artists, wouldn't we?
well, I don't know.
Wow.
If it was easy, I think it's. I understand what you're saying, but equally, it's more of if you need it to be complex. You need it to challenge
Oh, yeah,
you a bit.
challenge, definitely. Yeah.
One good thing about the portraits, I was pontificating earlier, thinking we'll never run out of subjects.
No.
So,
True.
yeah,
It's getting all the shading right as well, isn't it? You know, I'd got her chin too long, I think. Oh dear.
I think that's why I say that using the grid really helps.
Well, I don't know, but it's still hard on the screen. It's better having a bit of paper, isn't it? But,
Well,
yeah,
I did it. I took the grid and I just measured the piece of the canvas as I'm using, just measured the canvas, and then I drew it on tracing paper, put the tracing paper onto the canvas or onto the paper, and then just marked the grid on the paper. And then I didn't trace the actual image, but you can just check, you know, what is in what square.
Yeah.
Build it out. That's the way I did it, because my printer's naff. I can't get it to work. So I can't print anything off. But yeah.
That's lovely.
this one scares me. This one.
I think it'd look nice done all in oranges, like a orangey moon.
Or you could have a blue moon, or you could have the red moon, or you could have any colour moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no no. I think it's always good to analyze it and think about it before you start going for it.
I think the main thing is to get all the C's in the right place, all the markings on the moon.
Yeah.
Get them roughly.
It would be quite good. And if I can.
We can get a nice plate, can't we, to draw a nice round circle?
That's what I was. I was just going to say. That's what I used was a plate. But if you look at the edge of the moon, round here,
it's got little indentations,
little craters, and all the rest of it. So it doesn't,
doesn't have to be perfect circle.
No.
No.
So any little underlying. If you look at the bit on the right or over here as well, it's got a big bump there.
Yeah.
It's got bruise, and the classic one is the bit. Let me zoom up a bit. The bit down here, just round where they're behind the tree, actually, I think. But there's a huge crater system there. See if I can find.
What was that button moon?
There's, I think I got, oh, I did. I might, oi, don't be naughty.
Sorry.
There's a, I did, there you go.
Oh,
There's an
Wow.
image of the moon as it
Yeah.
is with nothing on it, just a plain
Yeah.
image.
I think they were, yeah.
Right down where those people are, there's that huge impact crater thing that's going off. There's one there and there's one in the
well,
middle
that'd be
as well.
good to have, wouldn't it? To copy that.
Yeah, I'll send that one to you.
Yeah, do that first and then put the image
The
on
tree
top.
on last, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
Would you paint all that before you even draw out the tree? I would, I think. I don't know. What do you think?
therein lies a tale.
Oh.
I'm not
More
100%.
paper in the bin.
Therein lies a, yeah, that's what I say, that the thought process that you have to go through before you get to the picture is was the hard bit, isn't it? Do you or don't you? I did. I've actually. I'll show you in a minute, but where's the? Oh, there it is. Where's the bigger one? But yeah, you can do it. I notice in that picture it's quite orange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
It just I zoomed it up, so it's gone a bit bigger. But yeah, interesting. There's so much going on that tree.
Yeah, gosh.
But I did what you suggested. I used a plate to draw the circle, and then I'll show you in a sec. I used masking fluid.
Oh no, not again. How dare you? Can't you do it without?
I've done it, yeah. I did.
Oh, no.
But I sketched the tree and I used the grid again. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. I did. I've actually done 2 of them. I was so. I don't know what's the word. Joyce won't be here today. She's got. She's gone off.
She's gone away for a few days.
Gone away. Oh.
Yeah, she's gone to Sussex.
Oh, lovely.
Right.
You remember that meal that we did? Was it? I can't remember the name. It's Amber something, I think. Amberley, not Amberley. Yeah, it was Amberley meal.
Yeah.
Windmill, wasn't it? We did that.
Oh, yeah.
She's gone up round there.
Oh, nice.
David, you're very quiet today. Are you all right?
Mother quiet.
No, that's better.
That's better.
It's because I was drinking tea.
Well, get on with the art lesson and forget the tea.
No, it was just that I didn't.
We'll do the tea drinking. It's all right.
There you go. That should be a bit louder. No, it was just that I didn't like to be slurping with because the microphone's right next to my mouth, and I thought, well, it'd be like. Not that I'm a predominant slurping type person, anyway. Yeah, I did 2 of these. I've because I was apprehensive about. I stretched a piece of paper on this board, and it's what's it called? UPO paper, and effectively it's a bit like, it's not paper, it's made out of polythene.
Oh,
It's plastic paper, so it's really shiny, and the idea is you do your wash on it and you can get it, the paper, the ink or the paint, watercolor won't sink into the paper. It'll just float around and you can get all the marbly sort of weird effects. But I didn't think it'd be, but it won't dry. You have to leave it to dry. It just dries by evaporation or whatever. And chickened out. So what I've done, I had it stretched to try it out, then found out what it was, what the actual stuff does. I thought, oh, that's not really me. So I've put some watercolor ground on it yesterday, a couple of coats, hoping that it'll act like normal watercolor paper ish. So that's it. But yeah, getting back to it, I did use the tree, the plate, just put a plate over it to draw a circle, and then put a grid on the circle, and I've got the same one that I sent to you. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, and just drew a few bits on it. I haven't actually drawn the C's on it at the moment. I can't remember.
The tree doesn't have to be identical, though, does it?
No,
It can be any spreading tree, I suppose.
Yeah, I did actually sort of sketch it more or less, but then I used the masking fluid pen to put the branches, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. We'll find out, won't we? And I've also, the thing I was going to point out, that the background or the sky doesn't have to be black. It can be, in actual fact, I think it's a mistake to paint it black. Blue works. Here's one of a galaxy image. And you can see that's got, it is sort of a grey, but blues in it and all colours. If you look at it like I do sometimes, there's all kinds of colours in there. And the only other reference picture we got is, I've got that one of the moon. So that was only late last night that I got that, and I notice it's slightly tilted that way, isn't it? It doesn't matter, but I'll send you one of those. But what I did do, I'm sort of apprehensive about this because I don't know quite what's going to happen.
Well,
but
that's good. We're all in the same boat then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're famous. You make the mistakes, so we don't have to, please.
Well, the other thing I did, this morning I got up and I had this, I've got this little masking pen thing, bottle, and it's got a needle. Remember I was on about, you take it out, you can't get the bloody thing back in very well. Well, takes you a while, you're like that. Anyway, so I used that and I turned it upside down and pushed it up and down on the paper. Hopefully I've got lots of little bits of masking.
Oh, I see. And that's, yeah.
And when I finish, I could rub them out. Maybe I'll get a star or two.
They might be little stars.
Yeah. Saying that, I've been sat here talking to you guys, thinking, oh, what's that on the paper? It's bits and I've been rubbing them off. Talk about a band pop. The other thing what I can't find, I'm usually really, oh yes, there it is. Say no more. Has that got a rosemary written on it? I've got a mop brush, so I made my palette nice and moist this morning, but I don't think it'll be. But I'm keeping all the rubbish paint that's in there. So this could be, I suppose this could be a fast early lunch here.
Yeah, you say that every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Come half 12, they're thinking, for God's sake, shut up, Dave. Give us a break. And we're starving. I even know what I've got for lunch today.
Oh.
I've got it. I've just wrapped it up in silver foil, ready to pop in the oven. All I'm having is a cheesy croissant I got two. I got two croissants. One,
Mm.
one,
Yeah.
one cheesy from the local baker, and one that I'm going to pop in the oven, and an almond one from Waitrose yesterday. They're to die for. They are. I was just looking at the. I think this. It doesn't matter. The background or the foreground, as you call it, is going to reflect the sky anyway. So, I think you've got a rare opportunity here to have a bit of fun. Colour-wise, that is. But I think my initial thought or my initial wash yesterday was to use raw sienna, that sort of off yellowy colour, go around with it. But this is going to be, I'm only doing that because this paper is going to make my life an absolute treat today. I think it probably doesn't come over on there, but I can see that it's just sitting on the top of the paper. I've got the hairdryer, so and that other sheet. So the idea is to give a nice background. I did say the other day what you could do, or we could be doing, is having a rare opportunity to use up all the rubbish in the palette. So I've got, but we're sticking with, these are just, well, my thoughts are at the moment, I'm just using base colours, brown, ready before I put some blue into it. But you can see what's happening with this paper. Can you see it?
Have you got it tilted?
Eh?
You got it tilted, or is it just?
It is tilted a wee bit, but not
No.
massively.
Oh, God.
You can see why I did two.
Yeah.
Now, while I've got all that on, I can now drop in lots of blue, and it's my favourite blue, which is thingy, ultramarine. I'm just going to drop a load of that in, and hope that the hairdryer does its job. But if we don't try these things out, we'll never know. But I don't think I'm going to get away with this.
The background is going to be a bit more dramatic than the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did try. No, because it was a new what's it, wasn't it? I'll zoom out a bit if you like. I love it.
There's some nice effects going on there. Probably
Yeah.
not what you need on this particular one.
If I like it. Is that Anne laughing in the background?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
You've made a day so far, yeah.
It's fun.
Well, it's called UPO. And I thought by putting a watercolour ground on it, it would make it really, I'm fascinated with that.
That would have looked nice on that London one that you did ages ago. With the rainy day one.
Yeah, but there's no harm.
Ew.
Oh, God. Well, ours won't come out like this then.
No, it won't. No.
God, if I did that, I'd have a fit.
But because of the type of paper it is, I can now squish it. I can squish it around.
Yeah, I can see it all shiny when you move it.
Yeah.
It's not paper, it's plastic.
Weird.
Well,
almost
Paint
like
acrylic on that as well.
I was just going to say, like an acrylic pour.
Yeah, that's the idea to it all. And I think you can use what's that, straw or something to blow through it. And
Oh yes, yeah.
but for
That's a lovely stormy sky for
space
Mm.
for space pictures, I reckon I've cracked it.
Yeah.
Well, if you put your hairdryer on that, it'll be all over the place.
Yeah,
It'll blow it, won't it?
yeah.
Oh,
Go and
God.
try it. Do it.
Go
Do
on,
it.
try it. Yeah, go on, dare you.
You lot are really wicked to me.
Yep.
We want to see you with all paint all over you.
Well,
Excuse me.
trouble is, I mean, that is like pouring, isn't it? The only
Oh,
problem.
nice wild flowers in a field.
Yeah.
Right. I'm ever one for a dare.
Oh, gosh.
I can't look.
Keep it away from the moon, otherwise you'll splutter it all over there. Oh, that's good.
Gotta go, yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that looks good now, doesn't it?
Bit too much water on there. Well, anyway, what am I going to bloody do with it? What do I do with it now?
We'll come back tomorrow, Dave.
Yeah.
I think you'll have to start the other one.
Well, hang on a minute. Okay, I've got to find somewhere to put this down without destroying the environment.
Look.
Well, the beauty of it is I'll be able to play with that and fix it till next Tuesday, because that ain't going to dry anytime soon, is it?
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
it was very interesting effects though. I like that.
Yeah, it'll be lovely when it's done. Very dramatic.
Well, I'll keep you informed.
Yeah.
Crikey, I've never seen nothing like that before. When you do try not to make the moon wet. So come in, even though I've got masking fluid on it. I'm fortunate there. Joyce didn't mess about. She went away. She knew there's something going to happen this morning. And Terry decided that Margaret was poorly.
Oh.
They've all got excuses.
Well, they knew they sussed it out. I'm the only fool that didn't see it coming, aren't I? Anyway, I'm going back to my original plan, which was raw sienna. Even this paper's not 100% what you should be using. It's the Stonehenge one, which is it can't cope with. It's already started to wobble. Find some brown. This is brown. I knew I was setting myself up for trouble this morning.
I think it'll look nice when it's done. It'll look really abstract-y, won't it?
Yeah. I'm trying to find a bit of. This is laying flat at the moment. The idea is to set down a base tinted colour and then add the dark, which I'm saying is ultramarine, on top, which will really give us a sort of a nice spacey feel. If you've got a mop or a makeup brush, it'll probably help. I don't mind if it is watercolor at the end of the day. Chrissy will have much more fun with this, I think.
I was just thinking that.
Well, but will you get the effect of space? Can you do?
Mine will be very flat, I expect.
because what I'm trying to achieve is some, you know, different variations, because it isn't all one color up there. And the light red, or you can use as Algerian crimson mixed with, I did say it could be fun, but if you drop in some yellow with the crimson, you'll get that sort of, it'll turn into a browny color. And if you've got some Payne's grey, I've got neutral tint and a I think last week I said this could be a brilliant opportunity to art therapy, but get rid of all the rubbish that's in your palette. And at the end of the day, when you think you've finished, you can still wiggle your paper around. Sorry, I'm stood on my headphones at the moment. And then see what happens. If you've got good, nice paper, solidly, you need to stretch it there. You want to watch that. If you got the, oh, it's doing it itself. I was just going to use the brush to tease it around. I don't want to glow around the moon if I can help it. It's a bit like a balancing act, really. Okay. What happened to you, Gordon, on Friday?
What? No, he wasn't here. He had a phone call.
Yeah, I heard the phone call,
Yeah.
and me and Chrissy were chatting away to Anne and Gordon.
Oh,
and
no.
I suddenly looked up and said, "Here, Chris, they're not there."
Well,
Get back on.
it's a very long story. Anne picked up the mouse.
Got half hour.
Which has got nothing to do with it. No, the computer ran out of memory.
Oh. So,
and we're now working on the old computer. Yeah.
So it has been you all these weeks.
Yeah.
Telling me
what is a .bin file?
.bin file?
Yeah. Two massive files have appeared on my C drive with .bin written on them.
That's yeah, temp. Well, they're like temp files, I assume.
Well, they're massive, and they've blocked the machine off.
Did you
delete? I rub them out?
Did you not use RE image on it?
Yeah, I put RE image.
And that didn't get rid of them.
I don't know. I'll go and have another look. I've had too much on my plate actually. But yeah, I run re-image and let it sort itself out yesterday, and this morning I'm working on the old computer.
Oh, right. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, this is me. I don't know, 15-year-old one or something.
I think I got a bit of water on this paper.
Just a bit.
Be interesting to see how it dries out, won't it? Hopefully I won't get too many streaky bits. But the paper's done because it's not very very thick paper. It's done the old, I'm gonna ripple away. Sometimes when this happens, I have to it's drying nice there. I have to, when I finish the painting, take it off, cut it off the paper, the stretch, and then re-stretch it by just making the wet, the reverse damp, re-stretch it, and then make it damp, and it'll stretch itself, and then get rid of the cockles. Space, the final, could be a double wash needed here, really. But I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it and trust to my the gods of art. Hey, didn't think it was going to dry that quick though. All that nice. This is smooth paper, isn't it? So I've got to make sure it's dry, otherwise I've got no chance of ever getting the masking fluid off Friend the Tree or the moon. But I can't see this being it's not meant to be a serious challenge.
You've frozen. You froze then for a minute.
Glad you said that, Chris. I was just going to sort my computer
Oh.
Am I unfrozen?
Yes, you are now. Yeah.
It could be. If I freeze, it's because the
with your
internet.
hairdryer, it's done it other weeks.
Yeah, okay. I don't see how the hairdryer freezes the computer, but
And that yeah, it's baffling, but I think the sound card's panicking.
Very pretty.
Mm.
I need to make sure it's dry. Amazing how that's dried really well. It's one of those pictures that I think, or one of those moments where you want to have the ability to varnish, which isn't so easy on a watercolor. It can be done using spray varnish and that, so that you can mask out the moon and leave that as it is, flat, matte, but varnish the background.
Mm.
Just to give it that gloss, and it'll bring out all the doodahs. But what I'm saying should be a straightforward bit of fun, no angst picture, therapy. I'm now thinking, wow, if I was to, add this, do that, and so it'll end up being a full-blown masterpiece. I thought this would be a nice break from doing portraits.
Yeah.
The other, oh my God, I've just looked across at the other one. Oh my God. You won't believe, look at this. What the flipping heck's gone?
Oh.
It's like the end of the world.
Oh,
Go downhill, Dave.
I have gone downhill. My bed's not as flat as it is, as I thought it would. Oh my God, it's running the other way. Oh. The beauty of that stuff is, joking aside, when I've finished, I don't have to, what do you call it, worry about it, because I can wipe it off. It's not dry, is it? It's never. It's going to take a week to dry. So all I've got to do is rub it off. Get some old tissues and perhaps rub it off. A bit like I'm doing now, or trying to do without losing the paper. If I get a hole in this, I'll cry.
You froze again.
I've been busy the last few days. That gardening takes up quite a bit of time, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Looking after your babies. It's slugs that are the issue, isn't it? Or slugs and snails. They're just. I wouldn't mind if you could train them just to eat grass and other leaves. It'd be fine. We could live really happy together out there. but they will insist on a nice chunk of broad bean, baby broad bean, even much tastier than a piece of ryegrass. It's not fair. I don't find it funny.
Dear. Oh,
And have they got? I mean, I know it's not quite art, but they have got a good way of hiding. They can. Oh my God! What was that? I just pulled a branch off. Did you see that? It's like,
Saw something. Yeah.
there's a
do you
big.
think if we
big-
left the plate on the moon and then
Yeah,
painted round it, it would work?
yeah, I've just lost that's one of my branches gone now.
Oh,
Well, I'm more cautious about getting getting the fluid that's on there off around the edge without digging a hole in the paper. So I was being quite cautious. Now, where's the fun bit? Now, find the picture of the moon, I suppose. I daren't try rubbing. Oh, I'm all up the creek here, aren't I? I've just stuck my finger in a blob of black ink. I think I'm going home. I'll go home and come back later. I'm just going to sketch in where I think some of these. They're C's, Chrissy. You were right. I'm just going to pencil in where I think they should be. Well, not that I can see them now. Nah, I'll pencil it. There's one down here. They all got names, you know. If Patrick Moore was here, he'd be. Whoa, that's.
Tranquility is the only one I can remember.
Yeah, that's over here. It's one of these, isn't it? So
No idea.
that's where Buzz and Neil went romping on the moon, isn't it? I don't know if I need this really. Cobblers. What we're going to do now is, and this is what you'll have to decide for yourselves, is what colour the moon. What colour the moon? Which is a song. Or it should be. No, but I just made it up, didn't I? But it could be a song, couldn't it? What colour the moon? Well, I think, as soon as this is Tuesday's art therapy session, after we've had a serious, stressful week doing the Queen, and ongoing, I might add, for Carol and myself, we've still farting around with it.
Yeah, I've got to start again.
That's an arty. Well, I'm going to stick with my raw sienna, and I've got this lovely. Joking aside, it's a good exercise in brushwork because I haven't masked it out again. So, and I'm sat down, which I don't usually do when I'm painting, and now I'm using my right hand. What a talent this boy has! Hey, there's just no look.
No ends to them.
I reckon we're going for an early lunch today. Looking at, I reckon I've got it sussed here. No, because I've got. While I'm in this mood, I'm gonna keep going. I love it. I think I've tilted at the moment, so I'm going to tilt back and let the paint try and do some work. Funny thing is, on the picture, on the screen, it doesn't look as yellow over this side as it does here.
No, Looks much paler.
Doesn't it? Very strange. Well, I'm decided that that's Earth light. The Earth is, the sun is shining onto the Earth that's over behind here, and the light is bouncing off the Earth back onto the moon, and it's shiny on that side. How about that?
That's very impressive.
That's cosmology. I got a cosmo feeling. Cosmology. Now, seriously, we're going to mix up some burnt sienna, and I've got loads of junk paint in the palette, so I'm going to utilize this opportunity to tidy my palette up. Just going to make it squirt a bit of water on it, because all the stuff on the moon, I'm not so sure about green. We'll find out in a minute. But if I look at my picture, that's a good art term, isn't it? I'm not sure about this. We'll find out in a minute. How arty is that? Well, what I'm going to do is drop, while it's wet, so I'm going to drop dark areas in where these seas are, rightly identified by Chris, where I think they are, and just drop them in, let the water do some work. I've got plenty of colour here, different colour. I did put some pencil marks there, and there's something going on. Now that was a big one, was there, wasn't it? So this is the therapy bit now, trying to decide what the hell the moon looks like. Oh, lovely. I'm enjoying this. I enjoy all my paintings, but and there's something going on there. While it's wet, we can do this, can't we? And if it dries out, we'll just squish a little bit of water on it with our aerosol. Might find, hang on, thinking about it in a minute. Wow, that we then might need to use a tissue just to dab them out. That goes right up to there, doesn't it? Bit of freehand. There's all good experience though, isn't it? Because if this was something else and a different subject, i.e. a portrait, and you were blocking in the face and all the rest of it, and you're almost painting the subject on the hoof. You're just looking at light and dark shadows. I'm going to wash my brush out. I'm still sat down, which is really... So I must be chilled. I must be chilled. Wow, I am. I'm just going to grab some tissue now and have a little think about it. No, I'm not. I'm going to get some really loose, really light colour, almost water, and drop it in onto the moon, because there's some really light bits as well. It's exactly the same colour, but I'm just going to drop it in because it's like shady bits, aren't there? Yeah. This could go on forever. How? Then you can use your tissue to tidy your bits up, or a brush. Just dab a few. Look out for pools of water. If you see a pool of water, perhaps grab it. I quite like. I think I'm just gonna use the tissue to lighten off some of the dark bits. It's the same old, isn't it? put a load of paint on and then spend 20 minutes dipping it all off. But using it, you should be able to define some tonal, light and darker areas within the moon itself. I notice at the top there, it's nowhere near as dark as that. And it's a finer line. So you can get loads of, I'm on a roll. I'm logging this. And not just because I'm fed up with space, to be quite honest. I do it so much every day and every day. If I'm not out in the garden doing it, I'm watching a Zoom presentation given by someone telling me how to do it, or what's on, or what's going on up there. So I think this week up to now there was one on Saturday, just going to smooth out the edge here. One on Saturday by a bloke called Paul Money. There's one on yesterday by a bloke called Paul Money. He's obviously doing the rounds at the moment. There's one on Wednesday, tomorrow, by a bloke called Paul Money. Because a lot of the astronomy societies that meet up, well, they can't, can they, at the moment? Or they've had to tame it right back, which has meant they're doing all these meetings on Zoom. It's great fun. I've met a lot of people, nice people as well. Because someone that doesn't really go out doing all that sort of stuff very often, too busy painting. I found an artist that does does some YouTube videos of how to do paintings and that. And I thought, oh, he's a bit older than me, but I didn't realise that he's madder than I am. And I thought, oh, the girls will love this one. Charles Evans, he's famous. He used to do TV classes and all that. So yeah, that's my latest YouTube tips and tricks. Someone to follow. I just want to get some more random earthy colours floating around here in amongst it. I'm using, if you've got Payne's grey or any old grey, I'd do it. I'm just adding a few bits. When it's dry, we could perhaps put a few craters in. Hey, look at that. Now it's a bit like watching paint dry. Well, it will be, because I'm just going to blast it with the airdryer on it. I think looking back on it, maybe be cautious with it depends on what colour you use, but the undercolour of the moon, it doesn't need to be that dark. Yeah, I'll probably feed. Oh, it's a bit like, this reminds me of the Clangers. Thing is, it's meaningless until you put the tree and the foreground in my opinion. That's why I'm so. There was a lake on the moon there. Oh my goodness! I think I better blob a bit. Oh my word, Dave! There's enough water here. There is water on the moon. Just seen it. I think I might publish this demo to all the astronomy groups. So, you discovered there is water on the moon. Oh, that was cool. Oh, look at it. It's running everywhere here. I think it's in a way it's alien to me because I get it, moon, space, alien. Because I normally I don't use the hairdryer. It's usually I just walk away and let it sort itself out over. It does. In my opinion, it does make for a better picture. It does dry better. Goodness knows what's happening with that other thing. It's the only one good thing about it is it's one of the times that you can put the picture over the edge of the bath and just flush all the water, all the paint off in sort of a few minutes. Well, unless it's acrylic, you don't want that flushing off down the sink.
No.
Saying that, what I have noticed is I've got my little Greek yogurt pots of water. I use 2 of those. I've always used it, well, for years now. But especially the dirty one, when you wash it out, there's a hell of a lot of sludge sediment at the bottom of the thing that you have to sort of wash away. Funny, you think, that's it, we've cracked the moon, but you haven't really, because there's a lot of, it's nearly dry. I think the spot at the beginning was just leave the tree alone. Perhaps sort out the moon and all the rest of the gubbins and do the tree at the end. Just add it in as a finished doodah. But this painting I'm not going to spend hours or the whole morning doing it, but it's one of those paintings, it's one of those things now, how accurate and how do you want it to finalize, and the only way of doing that, perhaps a rigger is better. I'm a rigger man. Within the moon itself, just get my palette over where you'll get some. I've got some run backs and things like that. Great, because we'll utilize those as little shadow areas and rings on the moon. Can just drop them in, and you can spend a lot of time doing this to make it look more effective. Where it's dry, there are like little dry marks. We can easily just look for little bits of detail, really. So I don't think when it comes to astronomical accuracy, I'm going to get brownie points for doing this. But as a reference image for future work, I'm quite enamored with this, because in any case, who knows that there isn't a spot on the moon, a crater or a crater that's there. Even these dark edges on the where it's just tweaked over the edge of the paper. You can utilize those. Me and Chris were saying earlier, the moon isn't round, is it? It's got lumpy bits on it if you look at it. So where they are, you can see what I'm doing. I'm just using the rigger just to tighten it up. And they could be little edges of craters where the sun's look for the shadow bits. Could get really accurate and say, right, I want the shadows all to be on to fall a certain way, but watercolor is all right anyway, because we can just dab them out if we're not too content. I've got a crater here. I can see like a little crater area. Haha, fascinating. Yeah, so just using the rigger on its edge. I'm not 100% happy with the colour I've chosen. I've got to admit. I think blue, pink, orange, any colour you like would work. One thing we could do, if I've got some grey, maybe? No, I'm not keen on that. I was wondering if I could put in some of the little stripy bits. They need to be softer, really soft. It's just a matter of putting some paint on, dabbing it off. How long we go? More water, more water. It's one of those things, isn't it? That less is more. Subtle. Looks a bit manky over this side. Just tighten it up. You can either find a cleaner tissue. Clean water and tissue, isn't it? It's always just for tightening it up. Da, da, da. Now it's dry. These are a bit. It's just a matter of dropping them in, isn't it? I'm still mucking about with the. I think looking at it, it's a bit too strong over here, but this paper is a bit not so forgiving as some papers. Thought they were doing it again, look, putting paint on and then scratching it off. I think the grey works a little bit better than the brown. Works a lot better than the brown. But this is the exciting bit. Yeah, let's get a bigger brush and lift off a little bit colour there. You can do this at your leisure. Put it on and then lift it off to the Langton paper is good for this sort of stuff, isn't it? Somebody who was using that the other day. Langton. It's a good hardy paper for lifting off and teasing more out of your picture. Not so keen about that area now. I was all excited about that earlier. I think it needs to be lighter rather than beauty is where you put the colour on. When you lift it off, it leaves a little bit of a stain mark that actually sort of helps it out a bit. Does in my estimation. Right. And there's a bit, let's turn it over. Just want to just tidy this bit up.
Nice stance.
But if what I could say, and I'm going to do it because Carol's here and she loves it when I do this. What you can do, just to tone things down.
Not the Chinese white.
No,
Yes.
pencils, isn't it?
No, I think
White.
Chris was on the money.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought I heard you jiggling some pencils.
Yeah, you can. Pastels work well on this, Carol,
Yeah, right.
for putting in the bits on the moon. So yeah, I'm just going to try and soften it down with a little bit of white. Chinese white being, ooh, there's a big blob of it on there. Chinese white being the way it is, it all it's transparent. So as it dries, then the underlying, but you get
again.
it should take the edge off of the colours. Yeah, it does tend to do that, doesn't it? I mean, I'm just trying to sow the seeds of an idea here, which should work. These mop brushes are amazing, aren't they? Well, this particular one I got from Rosemary. They're handmade. All their brushes are handmade, but you can tell the difference because you can go around the edge of that circle and just look at the front of the brush and just let it follow it around. Very good. That's better. Yeah. It's just so that's taking the edge off it. Looks a bit more moony anyway. And I think the foreground could do with some work, couldn't it? But I think that's almost neat paint. There's a bit of burnt umber. If I can get away with, I'm going to start off with, it doesn't have to be very art school. If you let yours dry, it's a bit of Terry Harrison's shadow colour might be quite nice, or which is mix of blue and Algerian crimson. Just try and lift it up there a bit. Oh, be careful because I'm going to put figures in there, or I was toying with the idea. I forgot all about them. But because I've used raw sienna elsewhere, I think it'd be a good move to include it in the foreground as well. Ah, this is art school. And then get the hairdryer out. See what happens. Lovely. Therapy. Well, the moon's looking a bit tidier. It could probably do some more on it later.
Wonder what that was. The dog looked up, thought somebody was whistling the dog.
Yeah, good one.
It's all right, Ralphie. Take no notice.
Can always tell. I'm usually whistling when I'm happy.
What happened there then?
What? Because I stopped whistling. Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, you're getting wicked. You are. Some of it's rubbing off. There was a couple of good jokes on Facebook today. One about the lady talking to her husband, comes over with a bag of clothes. I like that one. Saying, do you know anyone who wants some old clothes? Something along the lines of, yeah, well, nobody will want them. They're not good enough. Something it relates to her size.
Mm.
Oh.
I'll post it again. I'm trying to rub off these bits of. I forgot what it was. I'll have a look in a minute. There was a couple. There was another one as well. It was. I don't know if it's Be Horrible to Girls Day or whatever. They weren't. They weren't correct ones. Hey, if that had been, look at that. If that had been much darker, they probably don't come off so well on the come over on the video, but they are forming sort of little bright lights of star, and so they're giving it a little bit of depth. So at last I found something flipping useful to do with that pointy pen with a needle in it, a masking pen thing, because you can, and it does do the stars quite well, because they're never perfectly round. There's always a little bit of a twinkle on them, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Don't say they're tough little bleeders. Can't find them. You can feel a little lump. You think, oh, it definitely worth the effort to, even if you did it. I'll show you. If you dip the brush or a big brush in white paint, in the white, and then hit it on another brush, it will come up. Yeah, do it like that.
Right.
That'll give you the stars. I've got a few extra ones there then. So all is not lost. Oh, I've got more bloody masking fluid in here, haven't I? Sorry, swearing swearing on camera. You're fired. You won't work for Sky News again. Oh my goodness, what the heck's going on here? I after I did it yesterday, I thought, do you know what? You don't need to do that, Dave. Put the, it was because I had the masking pen thing,
Mm.
and it comes out in a really fine line. I thought, oh, I'll put the trees in, the branches and trees. Nah, I don't think. Then I thought, yeah, but that's all very well, but when you pull the stuff off, like I'm doing now, you got to get a brush and follow those lines, which is going to be rather interesting. Ooh. But if you were, oh, I don't know, it might be, how long we got? Need a bit more dry on that. It's a bit, hopefully it'll inspire you. Well, it's inspiring me. I'm thinking, do you know what? This could be a whole new artistic potential doodah for me, this. because when I'm, yeah, can see where it's bit dry and I smudged it. So my tree's going to be interesting. But taking on board, 2 secs. So better switch my phone off. Ooh, doing well for time. That's the main thing. Now, boring bit. Get some more water. Well, I must have been doing something because my water's all filthy. Again, I'm sticking with the raw sienna theme. And just go down. The beauty of this image is that there is no real light and dark. There's no shadow because the shadow's coming straight towards you, isn't it? So you've got a bit of leeway. I'll do this 2 ways, but taking a leaf out of Charlie Evans, I'll do it on the main branch, but we've done it a few times ourselves. If you take burnt umber or a dark brown, so paint the tree raw sienna, and then you can, while it's still damp, drop in some burnt umber. Well, just a dark brown, burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, antelope brown. That's a nice brown, antelope brown. Down one edge, blend it in. Have I froze?
No.
Sound like something dropped then. Then get some blue. Any old blue would do. I'm using. Today seems to be a ultramarine sort of day. And then follow them flipping stick things everywhere that I've done. Well, they're going to be dark, aren't they? But I think quite fascinating. Oh, God, I think I need to put my reading glasses on here. I can't. These are so fine. But yeah, maybe add some brown. That was too much blue on those. But you can take your time and do them really delicately with your fine brush rigor and gradually bring the tree into the play. But I think looking at it, the where I've used the masking fluid, the white is quite nice. It looks like there's some reflection or some shadow, some light catching the twigs. I'm doing this quickly, but I'll do one side. And that branch does go like that on the tree. It goes right up at a funny angle. Once you get a fine bit on your brush, keep it going. Add some more twigs because there's thousands of them. Keep twisting the brush as well. Look for the flat because it will form a flat edge on it on one side. Once you get that, you're in business because you can do some really fine twigs. Sometimes I've done it in years gone by because you can never make up your mind where they should go. And I've even done it upside down and shut my eyes just to see if I can get that randomness that, you've got a rough idea where it's going. I think if there is a trick to it, I think one of them is to keep your hand or your little finger on the paper at the same time, and it acts as a sort of a shelf to, flick it on. Now, what the tree? Now, I don't know why, but I'm drawn to adding some green into the tree. If you like, it's a sort of homage to Terry Harrison, because he's always teaching us that, wasn't he? Or still does in his videos. What colour do you use on a tree? They're green. The bark, they're not brown, they're green. They're green and with brown mixed in on top, but they start off as green, don't they? So I like them to have a little shade of green. I'm going to put a little bit of doodah on there. Now I've deliberately left the other side the way it is, unpainted for a sec. Let's put a bit of. I don't like that background actually. I can feel some Chinese white coming on. It's too. Well, I don't know. Let's just hang on that one. Well, I've done that side. Now, one of the things I was going to do, if I could find the right thing, I won't. I've got is to use some watercolor pencils. Let me just find a set. I've got quite a few different ones here. I was just trying. I think I just fell off the edge of me. I have to get a wireless headset. I was just on about the tree and the twigs. There's no reason why you can't use a watercolor pencil on the twigs. Yeah. So sometimes I'll turn paper on its edge. Hang on. Moon's gone for a walk now. But if you find it a little bit intimidating, putting them in, then you can use the pencils.
I think that's where my acrylic pens will come in handy.
Yeah, I know you've got those.
Mm.
One thing about these pencils as well, is a good technique is if you've got your brush, take the pencil, dip the brush in water, and take the colour off of the pencil using the brush, and then use it on the thing, because very often the pencils, the paint on in the pencil is very intense. It's quite good colour. So even if the reason I'm pointing it out is like Charlie Evans was saying, if you want to, if you're out somewhere and you want to do a quick painting, you don't need much. If you've got some watercolor pencils, a couple of brushes, you're off. You don't need anything else. But you get different. I don't even know what colour that is. It's like a sort of blacky blue colour. But you do get some nice colours on the watercolor pencils, and you can it's just another string to your bow. They're a bit fainter because I'm being more more careful. But well, because I'm not unconfident with the brush, with the colours on there. I did mix them up quite strong. I like to point these things out as I suss them out myself.
You can ask Steve afterwards.
I'll find out where it is.
How much?
It's supposed to be. I know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be.
You can talk if you like, Anne. I don't mind.
Sorry, Dave. Anne asked me a question.
Yeah, I said you can.
You showed
I was
me-
just looking at those bin files. That's
Cheeky sort of-
CD conversions.
What you
Blew
been
your
doing?
mind, didn't it?
What you been doing with that?
Sorry.
Where'd you get them from then?
From 2012, they're supposed to be.
CD conversions.
Yeah, it's CD imports, a method of importing CDs to your computers, massive files. But I need an administrative function to be able to delete them. And I haven't got that. We'll talk about that another day.
Google is your friend. Anyway, I can't see what I'm doing here. It's not my best tree ever, but it's all right. I'm not fussed because I can. Look, but
Oh no,
He's tipped something.
you've got a line at the top as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought another branch floated off.
Yeah.
That come from.
Trouble is, it's gonna. Never mind. That's a tidy up job, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's trouble when you're doing stuff like this. You can do your
Anne
tree.
says, is it on the bottom of your palette?
Don't know. Might have flipped out of the brush, but that'll be all right. I can fix it. We can fix it. Shame, really. I think it was where I was flicking the things. All these things are sent to try us. Now the next stage, or the other thing I was going to show. Sometimes people are saying that that the figures, they find it hard to do the figures, but watercolor pencils can help you do that as well. If you've got different colors, you can. These figures are quite. But if you do the little blob for the head, they're going to have to be bigger, aren't they? Because how big's the tree? I don't.
No, not really. Not too big.
No, I think that's not too far off the right size. But if you use a watercolor pencil, you've got a little bit more control. Or it feels more comfortable when you do it. The funny thing is, I've just misplaced the color. The pen. Oh, there he is. The one that ruined all my background has decided to run away. But it's a bit like doing it with an ordinary pencil. So yeah, you can put your figures in quite nicely. A bit more confidence, you know. If you feel, what's the word? You get a little bit more control. A bit like drawing with a pencil, isn't it? So it's just a variation of the theme.
It's like the acrylic pens. You just use it like a pen.
Yeah.
You
Well, the
like
thing about it is,
to-
if you draw it, if you do that, and then I'll do it on a separate piece of paper in a minute, before we finally commit hara-kiri and call it a day. But once you put the figures on, And should we do? Ooh, God, what? I think I'll put a little arm going down and a smaller figure next to it, maybe. Maybe not. Dad, hold my hand, Dad. Dad, hold my hand. I'm scared of something like that. What you could do, one option that works really well. If we go back to our little thing, a little pan with some white on it, I'll do another figure, this time just using white, okay? So hopefully it's not too wet there. Might be a little bit wet. Put another. Paint's a bit damp, really. Let's just tease that off and get the easier way of doing it is to take the paint straight out the tube. That way you know it's nice and globby, nice and solid, and then paint a figure or the impression of a figure. Something like that. That's Mum looking on thinking, what the flipping heck are they doing?
It's a ghost.
That's true. Yeah, initially it does. But it's just something I used to do a lot of. Can't say I've done it. Then take your, in this case it's going to be a dark paint, and fill the figure in. Let the white dry first. Hang on, let's get me dryer. Woo! Mum, there's a dog in here. That's just Dippy Dave again, don't worry. Yeah, when it's dry, so if you let it dry, then you can put colour all the way down practically, but leave a white edge on one side. And you get that
Nice reflection.
It looks like, yeah, you don't need a lot either. You just need a little edge of it, and it looks really nice. Works really well. Just do that a lot, especially on these type of heavenly globe type pictures. Yeah. So the one thing that I shouldn't have done was, like I said, put the masking fluid on the tree. To fix that, it's going to take hours, or probably not. I probably won't bother. I'll probably do the picture again actually on on different paper, but as a guideline, that it's good. The other thing I would do, I said just now, I'm not sure about the background. For the life of me, I'm not convinced that it needs to be. It either needs to be totally black or not so, in my opinion.
Well, if we all do our own thing, and then we can see.
Yeah, I just think I could tone it, give it a little bit more structure and definition of the tree. Wow. Trouble is, I'm sat looking at it too close. I usually stand up when I paint. Yeah, okay, fine. The other thing that I could try and do, if I get a tissue, so it's never-ending supply of tissues, isn't it? In watercolours. Well, it is in my case. What I could try is the bit that went a bit wonky over there. Just add a bit of white on the brush and let the white tease it off. That'll do. I know that we'll just say that they're space clouds. You get them during the aurora. It's the Earth's magnetic core flares up every now and then and throws off these space clouds. You just tell it how it isn't. The beauty of that Chinese white is you can subtly change things. No, I did it on there. Ooh. Don't know what the Moontree. Won't work with green, will it? Yeah, I can see that coming along. That'll work all right. Well, the idea's there, girls.
Yeah.
Right.
And Gordon.
Thank you.
And Gordon.
Yeah, don't forget Gordon. Oh,
I think
yeah.
if you expand on that, you'll get a good image. And the thing about the moon is we can use our watercolor pencils or acrylics, pastels.
Yeah.
Ordinary pastels work really well on that. Especially on the moon bit. Actually, I don't know how I do it, but it's not looking too bad now. I've kind of, yeah, all right.
The actual moon is really nice.
Yeah, it is lovely.
I think, but if you you can use some just gently with some pastels, yeah, and just you can look for and add a few little shadowy bits on it. This is just don't know what bloody colour it is, to tell you the truth. Dark. It's dark.
Whatever.
I do that all the time. Yeah, you used to go on about it. I don't know what colour to use. I can never make. Nor do I.
They don't have colours on those pencils, do they? Because I've got those.
Very often, no, very often. But no, I never look at it. I always look. I just think, oh,
just look at the end. Yeah.
Well, but I just think, oh, I need a dark a dark colour. I don't ever think of it as a specific colour. I want a darker blue. But the beauty of using the pastel on the moon bits is you can use your finger and just soften it through.
Mm.
And the bits, if you get any wonky edges, you can use a white one and that'll have the same effect. And as long as you come in from the side, I haven't rubbed the pencil line out on here either, so when it's bone dry, yeah.
Mm.
The only thing I'm disappointed about is the tree, but I can't do much about that because, like an idiot, I masked it out, didn't I?
Mm.
So the lesson for the day is don't mask your tree out.
Would you, yeah, you put more twigs on that, would you, eventually, or not?
Well, tell you the truth, I think less is likely to be more on this. And
Right.
probably the easiest thing is to use the brush, and as it dries, just wipe it off and start again.
Oh,
Be
oh
quite,
God.
to be
This is, where
honest,
this is where the trouble starts with me. Best to
I
do
know
it.
because
Yeah.
because the white bits don't work. So I'm just gonna have to let it dry, and then I'll go over it again with a little bit more caution,
Right.
and try and discern them. Just
Yeah.
get rid of the white bits. So I could, now I've taken them off. Where's my palette? I've got after about time what's the word? Trim down on the amount of palettes I use.
Mm.
It was a little bit of raw sienna, so I could quite easily add some more in. See if we can tone those white bits down, and then I'll build them back up later.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to cough, and the more I try not to, it's like, yeah, it's annoying me more. And why is the water? Funny little bit of water.
Try and disguise those white bits, but you can see, so there's the tip of the, my tip of the day is don't use
The mask
mask
fluid.
on the
The
tree
tree.
anyway. It was all right on the trunk, which is where I started, and I got carried away with that that wobbly thing. But I think of what I was just, I think it's something to build on.
Yeah, in principle, it's looking very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the figures would be interesting. I'm not sure. I think this could be black. I could use black on that.
They really need to be silhouettes, don't they? So
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hang on, 2 secs. Black isn't much use on a watercolor paper. It's not strictly a watercolor paint. Well, it never. I dropped some on.
Indigo with it, Dave. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, I haven't got any.
Ah.
But what I have got is no. Blue's not the right thing. And I might have it in another palette, but I'm not opening another one. I've got about 4 here now. I think it's
Peter's, from
yeah,
Peter's Port, that's got indigo in it.
You're right. That was the one. Yeah, as soon as you do that, it makes it stand out even
better.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
well,
nice.
it's something for you guys to build on.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be relaxing.
Well, I hope it is.
Once I'll do that when it dries back. I'll put the some more twigs in a little bit more accurately, And I'm 100% sure that'll look really nice, that picture.
It's nice. So would you do the background darker, do you think, or leave it lighter?
It doesn't look as doesn't look as pale in real life.
Right.
As it is on the screen.
Yeah, you sort of, well, just looking at it on the screen, you sort of lost the moon in the background. You know, there's not a definite edge to it.
Yeah.
Daylight.
Anyway, I'm going to do mine with a dark background. With the acrylic, it's a totally different kettle of fish. So
yeah, it will
mine
be.
different.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we can soon.
Oh, panic.
Oh God.
Well, just so that you can see what would happen, we'll do it. I mean,
Water paint is hard to get dark, though, isn't it? Watercolour. Do you think? It is, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like,
Hang on, I've gone right.
oh, I
ahead.
can see I'll be mucking this lot up. What colour do I do the background?
No,
Help?
It's another one of Dave's challenges.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Easy early lunch. Oh yeah.
That's
It's
not
3
such thing.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've saved the best till last. Look.
I get all enthusiastic when I start, and then it starts going wrong, and I think, oh gosh, here we go again.
This is using a neutral tint. We can sort of add a little bit more interest.
Don't know. Yeah, don't know if that looks so good or not.
But it's going to dry back and fade.
Right.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. At least the moon shape is more vivid now.
Yeah. That more,
more for night time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be darker, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Before I go, I just share a little bit of news.
Yeah.
I was looking for a discount card this morning for Go Outdoors, Gordon, and I was going through my old handbags because I don't carry all my cards around. I haven't used that one for ages, and I found it in a purse with £85.
Oh, that was lovely. What a lovely surprise.
It was a lovely surprise.
So
that's my battery sorted.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Oh.
Just when you needed it.
Perhaps you should do the lottery this week.
No. Well, the reason I wanted the discount card is because I got to buy a new caravan battery, which is about 100 and some pounds. So
right. So
that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's really good news.
Yeah. Did you? Sorry, I've got to go shortly. And did you, Gordon? Did you have a chance just to check that battery that I sent the link to?
Yes.
The one at Go Outdoors, is that the same as yours?
It looks a well-made battery. I didn't go and check it, but that looks okay. Whether mine is still exactly as mine is another matter. Whether they put different numbers on it, but I wouldn't have. It looks to me as if I saw that in the caravan shop, I would probably buy it at that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay.
Because you can. The discount card I've got, it only lasts a year. Well, it's expired, but you can rejoin for £5 and you save £35. So,
yeah.
So I'll probably get that one.
£1, that's bargain.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll do the maths later. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
Right.
Have a good week.
We look forward to seeing how we all get on next week.
Yeah. I think Dave's trying to wipe it all off to start again.
I'm just going to let it. I'm going to let it dry off, and
then go back to it.
Yeah.
didn't it?
Oh well,
I think I
we've got
might.
yeah. Well, we've got the gist of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Huh.
Go and play.
yeah. You don't know what we might come up with.
I think
True.
that's the beauty of it, though, because
Yeah.
like the one with the Queen, there were so many
Different.
interpretations of the same
Yeah.
idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
The gallery is really interesting.
Well, I've got to do mine all again, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've got to start on Jamie yet. David knows who Jamie is, my toy boy. Yeah. I've sketched it, but
Oh, I'm not in here. Where have I gone? Oh, there we are. Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Anyway, I must go because I've got to be something.
Yeah, I've got to go as well. So
yeah,
have a quick lunch. Pop out. I've just had a message to say to pick something up, so I'm going.
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay, bye, Chris.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for
See you
your
next
advice.
week.
Yeah, bye, Carol.
Yeah,
Bye,
see you then,
Gordon,
Pauline.
Dave. Thanks very much, Dave.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Okie cookie. Here's a little bit of an update. This is an add-on from yesterday's finished video. I wasn't very happy with the background, so what we did, we've got if I can open it, yeah, I've got a wad of St. Petersburg's paints, as somebody pointed out. One of the colours I've got in here is indigo, so I've just gone over the whole shooting match with indigo, and that's taken overnight to dry. But what I remasked around the moon, and I'm just gonna take all that off now and remask in the reverse. If I can get this stuff off, just take this off, rearrange the ends of your fingers. Can use a rubber. Nearly there. There you go. That's most of it. And my next, now obviously, well, unfortunately, the moon looking a bit jaded at the moment. So in order to address that, my next wonderful plan, which will become clearer later, I'm going to have to remask out the moon. So I've retained or retained the dinner plate that I was used to draw the original sketch, and carefully try and put that back into the situation. Nothing flash, I'm just going to remask it out. So in order to do that, we need to put a bit of weight on it. What have I got here? Oops, bend down a minute. This might be a bit too heavy. It's not going to move now. Right, so now I've got my trusty masking fluid, and I'm going to mask around the outside, all around the edge of the plate. There you go. There you go. So what we've done is I've got a nice area of masking fluid just around the moon, so that I could just use a nice any brush really. Just decide which one. I just want to try and tidy up the inside of the moon area. I've got a nice little flat brush here, this will do it. Just want to go over it with clean water and try and take out some of the paint that I've put on there. Just give it a good fierce, good hard rub and a dab. Just want to tidy it up before the next stage. Not worried about the tree now. I'll come back over that later. Take everything back. It's a sort of a, but if I've got it, because I've got the masking fluid around the edge, I'm okay. I can it's the edges I wanted to make sure that stayed nice and clean. We have another, if this is a better quality paper, I could have gone in a bit stronger. I just wasn't very happy with the way the result turned out on Tuesday, so I just want to tidy things up, especially with the moon. So if I can get back to, you can see the muck that's coming off by the colour on the cloth. Whoops. But having that fluid around the edge is protecting the edge from the sky, so it means I can just be a bit harder, a bit firmer on the edge of the moon. Hopefully tidy it up a bit. Right, now I'm going to be a bit radical. I'm going to add some more colour to it using, I'm going to use the mop brush again. I like this mop brush. And some flesh tone, just any old flesh, some fleshy colour, and just go over it and then let it dry. Seem to have some lumps of flesh. Lovely colour. Hence the reason I put the masking fluid around the edge, so that I could go as I didn't have to worry so much about getting a tidy edge. We'll do this and then we'll let it dry and then we'll come back. I've got bubbles all over the paper, which is, I don't think it's the paper breaking down. I think it's the bits in the paint which will disappear when it dries. Or we'll just, oops, a bit too far. We'll just rub it off. So I'm going to let that, I've done it again, gone a bit too far. Don't learn by a mistake, so we're going to let that dry and come back to it. Now while that's drying, early on yesterday we had great fun using the Lupo paper. Lupo. And it does dry eventually, and this is the way it's dried back now. Now I'm not going to leave it like that because I've got there's some undercolour there, so I've still got this indigo paint, so I'm going to make it wet again and then drop in a load of indigo on top of this, and we'll let this one dry and see what happens. I'm using a spray gun spray bottle even, because I don't want to disturb the paint underneath the colours. I just want to drop in the sepia. So using my trusty mop brush, I'm just going to go straight in, and with the sepia just let it do its thing. See if we can get some really spacey type. Beauty is with this paper is it looks a mess at first, and it's really difficult to, but it does give you some amazing effects. Just let it mingle, and then I'll blow it around with a hairdryer in a minute. Just splodge it on. Hopefully some of the colours underneath will blend in. It's definitely a therapeutic process, I'll grant me that. See what happens with the hairdryer. Much closer to it this time. I think you have one of the areas that need more paint on is just around here, I think. Just let it float in. Seems to be a amazing paper. Well, it's not paper, it's plastic. Effectively, you're painting on. It's made out of some sort of plastic paper. Just leave it. Swirls, do whatever you like. You have to have a vision of the moon piece in the middle that's going to form the. And don't forget, we can tilt it at an angle, let it run, do its biz for a while, blow it. It's amazing. Never known anything like this. Well, not in the sort of realms of watercolour that I'm using. Interesting. We're just waiting for everything to dry off now. Incredible. We'll be back. Right, next party trick. It's dried off nice now. I've actually got in my palette a little bit of gold. It's a little bit of gold gouache. Initially, I'm just going to put a little damp this area. Whoops, didn't want to go too far down. Sit down and relax, Dave. Then I'm going to use some of that gold to dab in where I think the moon features are, just for a bit of fun. As I said, this painting is not about well, they're all have a serious side to them, but it's nice just to relax every now and then and just say, well, if it doesn't go quite how I feel, then I'm not going to throw the wobbler. So I'm just going to dab in while it's damp where I think these C's are, some gold this time. I'm just looking at them at the I'm conscious that they're in here. There's like an explosion. So, well, where something large has bashed the moon. This is just an undercolour. I'm going to mix up some watercolour to go in. So, just thought it would be nice to have a sort of gentle undercolour of gold. There's a dark splodge over there, and there's a few lighter ones here. Bear in mind we've got some, you can always put some Chinese white in to enhance things back. It's quite good fun this, because you're having to paint al fresco almost from memory without drawing distinct areas. Now we're going to add a little bit of, that was quite a lot of blue. It must be damper, and some burnt sienna. That'll give us a nice sort of, not black, but a grey colour, as you can see. If in doubt, you can always put a little piece on the side and see what it looks like. But I think I'm going to really water it down quite a lot, and then stick with the mop brush that I've got. I'm just going to drop in some of this grey, it's a sort of a light black as much as anything, into on top where I think where I've put the gold. Hopefully it'll give me a nice, well, I'm pretty confident it'll give me a nice underglow. Paint what you see. Look for the and when it dries back, it'll give us a nice undercolour of a warm glow on the moon. Just dropping it in with the where I think it should be. If you get pools like I've got here, you can quite easily just lift them off with a brush. Some really light areas over here. Just dab them in. I feel a bit more confident now. It's just so it's just blue. I've got my gloves on. Sorry. Maybe I was decided I would have an arthritis day. So it's just blue and a little bit burnt sienna, and you can drop it in. It'll give you that nice dark grey colour. So you can add some even darker bits. Or variations on the theme, some shadows. If you feel that it's if if you get an area which is too dark, just simply lift it off with, I'll show you, hang on. I'm just going to make this area over here a bit darker. It's quite dark on this limb. Fortunately, there's plenty of that sort of colour in the palette. But where I've masked it, I know I can go quite high. I'll just put a blob on my bright bit. So just clean water, just so anything you want to lift out, I've got little areas. Just damp your brush. Just a damp brush. This doesn't work on that mop brush. If you clean it and damp it, it forms a sort of a shape that doesn't want to touch anything. If you do that, you can just lift pieces off. I'm pretty sure that's fine. One piece I did notice, and I'm going to add a blob of white to, is just about there. There's like an area that has where the moon had been hit by a crater of some description. So I'm going to put a blob of paint in and then blow it. I could use the hairdryer for now, but you can use a straw, be useful. Oops, can't see. Okay. Quickly mop those bits up. Otherwise the moon's exploded out into outer space, which I don't particularly want. Yeah, got a bit too much white on there. That's fine. We'll just mop a bit up around the edges with a bit of tissue. Should be fine. There you go. Use a thin brush and lift it off. Quite like the way that's working. And I'll have to put some more darks on there to compensate. Should have done it first really, but never mind. Make a dry patch there. Every time I think a subject is going to be relatively straightforward and simple, it ends up being enormously complex and goes pear-shaped. Anyway, keep looking at my diagram, my little picture of dark areas of the moon. So now I'm going to drop them back in again after the hairdryer assault. Trying to avoid the it's fine. There's definitely a dark bit here. Good old moon. Perhaps push a few bits back into there. Very therapeutic. I did say it would be. Hopefully this will dry quite nicely. So I'm not going to wipe it all off and start again the third time. The paper is very stressed at the moment, so it naturally looks I think that's fine there. I think that's gonna do a very if you've got a small brush, you can equally just put a blob of white there, I think. Let that dissolve into the painting. I'm going to let that dry and see what happens. I'm optimistic for a change. Yeah, definitely looks like something out of space. Beautiful. It's all nice and dry now. Well, yep, all nice and dry. A bit of tidying up to do, but kind of like it. Said it would be different. I think what we'll do at the moment is perhaps get some white and just tidy up. Find a nice brush. Tidy up the moon a bit. Let's just make it a little bit brighter, I think. Got plenty of white here. But with the undercolour, I think it'll just looking for some white, some bright areas. Just dab them in. Bear in mind this is, I'm assuming this is Chinese white. It just came out of the palette. Got my gloves on, I've been out in the garden again. This will probably keep dabbing my brush in though. See if I can whiz in a few tidy areas. I'm not worried about the edge of the moon. I'll blend all that in with some clean water at some point. Just clean water on the brush and blend the outsides in. So it might be easier to just patch a few nice white bits in. Just look at the image and see if I can emulate what's the highlights on the image. Great for Chrissy with her acrylics. We're not worried about this bit down here, are we? Because that's where the tree is. See, it's picking up some of the colour from the outside as well, so one might be able to use that to our advantage. Makes it a sort of a shady blend. All we can do is keep teasing our brush back in the water. Quite a lot of highlights on the image. It goes right the way down. Keep that little bit there. There's definitely a bit around there. Definitely fun. I know I said this is going to be a relaxing subject to do, but typical of my relaxing subjects, they end up being quite intense. Don't know what's going on with this white. It seems to be coming out all grainy. Just to compound the issues that I have. But they are fading back, so which is what I wanted it to do. Not quite transparent, but interesting nonetheless. I think it's because it's old paint in the palette, so it's coming out more yucky. It's doomed. Sometimes you do a picture and you think, it doesn't matter what I do, it's going to come out. It's doomed. We'll soften some of these bits down. Probably a good idea to think clouds, almost. Sorry, not supposed to be. No happiness. Not while you're working. Push that back in. When it's dry, I'll go over it with a clear brush and really tighten it up. It's very grainy, this white. I don't know why. I'm just dropping it in there. It's a bit like painting water or sky or the sea almost. That comes in a bit there. And these go out. A couple of flecks. I've got another nice piece of just soften it down. I think later I might just get some, when this is dried, get some white pastels, pencil pastels, and add in a few extra highlights with that. But we can put in a bit of extra lines where that crater has exploded. It does soften back quite nicely. This white paint needs to go up a bit there, I think. It's like a little circle. Hopefully this will dry back nicely. If not, don't forget we've got the tree to put on yet, so everything's going to change then. A nice bit of rigor, get the magic rigor out. What I might do, or might try, is to use the stippler brush, and I've still got some grey. Well, I'll mix up a bit more actually. Blue shadow colour, which is nice. The crimson, I always add a bit crimson, and some burnt sienna this time. I've got it on good authority. That makes a nice shadow colour. Looks a bit fierce on the screen, but a bit of burnt sienna. Yeah, that's nice. Sort of a shadowy colour. I'm going to take as much paint off as I can and then just try and flex a few bits in. I might have to spray it a bit to spread it around because it's a bit dry. Not so sure about that. We can use our, while it's damp, I'll use my finger just to push it around. Maybe not. Well, don't need the that brush. I think my ordinary brush was doing fine. Drop in where you think some extra shadowy bits. Really, I'm just teasing some of these yellows out of the way. Give them a little bit of extra depth of colour, really. But I'm still treating it as a fun picture, so I'm relaxed. I'm not getting too bogged down with the. It's got to be a masterpiece, even though my natural tendency is to want to make it as nice as I can. And the shadow works on the white as well a little bit, so you can drop some extra bits on. Think moon. Yeah. The ice planet. I'm not worried about the bottom because that's going to have a really dark band of colour across there. Yeah, we'll let that sort itself out with some airtime. Come on, just to dry the brush off and just let it blend a bit of colour in. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to let that dry off and do a little bit more. Turn into a bit of a marathon, this picture. Still not totally dry now. Crikey. What was going to get the phantom hairdryer out? Just dry it off so that I can do a bit more. Interesting. I'm going to dry it off now. I'm going to make it all wet again. Perhaps tidy these bits up. Really, it's just find a nice friendly brush. Should be able to just tease it off with some clean water. Just blend it back in. I'll try. It's always a good idea to the paint on the side of the board. It's quite useful because you can use, being watercolour, we can sort of rehydrate it and just utilize it on our image. Just a little, I'm sure it'll dry back nice. Plenty of it floating around. Floating. Floating. It'll dry back. Just clean water. We'll do this similar. Just tighten up any don't mind these dark bits around the edge. In some of the spots adds a little bit of definition to the edge of the picture. Yep. It was just that one there, wasn't it? It looked a bit suspect. Okie cookie. Maybe could do with tightening up that bit. Well, as I said before, the moon isn't a perfect ball anyway, so I'll just dry that off again. Oh, I'm all tangled up here. Just use it. My next little plan of attack, it is an attack really as well, is to use some pastels just to see if I can add a little bit of interest here and there. Hang on, that's not pastel. Thought that felt funny. Pastels. Get your pastels here. Pastel pencils. Got some skin tone ones. Have a quick shufty at what's in there. Doesn't really. I'm just going to use the white, I think, for the most part. Beauty of the pastel is you can just add a little highlight and it'll unsmooth it with your finger. Just to add some more information. To the some of the brighter areas. I think doing it in a sort of a circular way helps. It could take quite some time, this bit, and it will. Could have done the whole thing in pastel right from the start, really, but see if I can introduce that a little bit more, a little bit better. Colour over here, it's a bit whiter up through there. this pencil in a sec. The beauty is I've got an underlying colour sort of set at a tone value, which I quite like. I'm determined not to let this image go to waste, and I'm just looking at the reference picture of the moon and trying to find some. Down here is it's about there, isn't it? There's where there's been an enormous crater hit that spreads right the way, look right up over there. So we can just draw a few lines and it'll make it look good. The only thing I've got in the back of my mind is when I put the tree in, there's another one here as well. When I put my tree in for the Moontree, I have to be careful that the colour is quite solid and strong so that it doesn't rehydrate all the water. The pastel, sorry, not the water. Just get a pencil sharpener and add a little bit more to the end of this one. Let's see if it'll fit in. It's like being back at school. There you go. It's a bit more. Yeah, so I'm just going to use where I can see these little white mountain ranges and different things, and just use the pastel to try and bring some of the information back. You won't get it perfect, but as long as Neil Armstrong can find somewhere to park his lunar module, we'll be fine. It's like a interesting line of almost like a mountain range there. Quite fascinating. One thing about doing this at the end of it should have a fairly good. If you could put labels on these parts of the moon, you'll be a lunar expert, or a lunatic even. There's an area here. And that can come down a bit. I think if you do it in a circular motion, it works quite nicely. And this rill, sort of like a range, isn't it? Seems to go all the way along here, down to there. Yep, something like that. Just trying to put a bit more definition and just make it a little bit more interesting, really. Careful. There are no volcanoes there are no active volcanoes on the moon. Not on the real moon, but looking at mine, I'm not so sure. So I'm going to make I think I might just pause the video for a while, but you get the drift of what's needed here, because it's going to take a while to get it all going. But I think it's just a matter of using a pastel pencil. You could try a watercolour pencil, but I don't think it'll be strong enough white-wise. Pastel pencil is quite good at putting in stars as well. To concentrate on that later. Just all I'm looking for are areas of strong highlights that I can just see these. This goes right all the way along you. Beauty of being pastel is you can just blend it back in as well. But just do it in a circular way. I think I might move this up a bit. I don't know. Just carry on. See how much white I've used. I only just sharpened it a minute ago. I have got, if I remember where I hid it. Oh, I did see a piece of white pastel here the other day. I'll give everything else just sort of, I probably walked it into the carpet by now. Anyway, I'll persevere, but I'll pause the video for now. So it's, oh, run out of, and you can carry on if you're having a go at this. You can have a go at. This is just going to take me a while. A bit of thought. Wow. Good fun. I'm enjoying this now. Well, I've added a few more white bits and a little bit of, just had a go at dotting a few stars in with the white pen. So next I'm going to just see if I can tidy up the bottom using some really nice, back to the indigo that I've got in here. Ooh, this is a live one. And just, it's going to be a few coats this. Try and bring the, smooth it up a bit. Almost neat paint here. I've got to cover this. Determined to spoil the party, this block of paint. It's because I'm using the brush with little water on it. Try not to splash it all over the moon, but what I have painted. It's one of the almost disadvantages of watercolour is that it does in this, it is sort of transparent, so getting it to, I think I might make it so that that's I don't know whether it's distant hills or don't know, no idea. Just seemed like a good idea to make it uneven. Could be a distant valley, hills. It's drying quite quickly anyway. I don't care. I've got some nice dark brown. We'll add that to the colour as well, give it a bit of variation rather than just be solid indigo blue. When it dries back, it should look quite interesting. Come on, don't touch the indigo. It's alive. I think we need to go up a bit more. That's enough. That'll do. See, my paper's lifting a bit here as well. Don't know if I've got any crimson in this palette. Might be warm it. Wow, looks like I've certainly covered that. We'll let that dry now. While I have a cuppa, I think. At least I'm getting somewhere with it. Our next, it's turning into a bit of a marathon, this. Anyway, it's definitely a challenge. So we're going to mix up some colour here. Quite a bit of colour, I think. Well, I'm definitely going to mix up a wodge for my tree. So I don't want to run out part way through. So I'm going to get some ultramarine. Nice dollop of raw sienna. And add some crimson to it. Should give me a nice dark colour. Not quite black. A bit more burnt sienna. A bit more burnt sienna. I want plenty of colour because it's I don't want to run out part way through doing the tree bit. Hence the reason it's quite a bit of colour. Maybe a bit more blue. We don't like black, but I'll look. And I'm going to get a couple of brushes. One's going to be a rigger. And one's going to be sort of a number 8 brush. Not going to make it too wet, just damp it. Give it a good load up. You can always try on the side first, see what happens. Get a feel for it. Maybe a bit more blue. Perhaps a little bit of burnt umber. Just to really darken it up. So I've got plenty of paint. Now then, see if we can find a tree. Where do I want it? Don't want it to go too high, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go just about there. And where it meets the ground, it's just do the two main branches first, the uprights, and then we can switch over to our fabled rigger. See how far I can go with this. I'm not so confident with this brush. Just take it off. There's a couple of really big branches. Just use the edge. You're better off going with your gut feeling rather than looking at the picture, because your hand will go all over the shop. But so use it as a guide. Now I'm left-handed, so I'm going to concentrate on the left-hand side of the tree first. It's just the way I am. Seems to be going nice and fine now, this brush. Cookie. Now I'll get the rigger, load the rigger up with the same mixture, and take any, and see if we can find some nice fine twiglets. So many branches coming off the tree that you can just keep going. Once I get a good fine line going through the brush, I should really use my reading glasses for this, I think, and start at the top and work my way down, because I'm left-handed and I'll be going over the same part of the tree over and over. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going until tea time. No, until the brush runs out of fine lines. Keep putting them in. I'm very hardly touching the paper now. It's almost run out. This brush. Take a bit off. As all the busy bits are at the top of the tree. Try and get it to fan in a push that one up, let it down. I do find it easier if I can rest my finger on the paper. Definitely helps me get a better branch, a better feel for it. Hopefully there. Oh, it's okay. I'm going to just turn the board round a bit so I can attack the other side. Try and think upside down now. Start at the top and work my way. Actually, I'm doing it wrong, and I should be starting at the bottom and work my way up because I'm left-handed. That way I won't keep going over myself. Huh. Not enough paint there. It's definitely loaded with a tree. It's got more branches on the one side than the other. Thought I was doing quite well, but try and put as many of these fine ones on as possible. See what that looks like up the right way. Not too bad. See why I mixed up a load of paint there. Let's try and I think I need one going there. Try and tidy it up. Some of the branches, they need to be a bit thicker where they branch off from the tree, sorry. My enthusiasm to get some nice, that'll have to be thicker, that one. Don't know who prunes this tree, but they're not doing a very good job. Come on, you lot, all join up together. It's not too bad. Yep, I think I'll go with that. Now, next thing I'm going to do is mix up a really weak. Where's my palette? Mix up a really weak solution of shadow. Maybe add a little bit of yellow to it. Make it really weak. Add a little bit of warmth to it. Really, really weak. And then I'm just going to stick a bit at the ends of each of the branches. Just fizz it in. More water. Needs to be really, really light. It's just a sort of intimation that there's some foliage at the end of the tree. Same over here. Try and sort of mix it up with the shady bits of the moon. I think it'll work quite well. More, just at the ends really. Intimate that there's something going on. Yep, that'll do. And maybe put a few grassy bits floating around. That's my internet making that noise if it comes across on the video. Someone's messaged me. So I'm just going to slightly add a little bit more warmy yellow bits to that. Add more water and just drop them in at the ends of the branches. I think it needs a bit more. Something like that. I'll let that dry off and come back and do a little bit more. Oops, it's come off the page. Sorry about that. The moon shines bright tonight. I think we're dried a bit. I think yeah, my next little target is I'm going to put in a couple of figures. I don't want them too big, but I don't want them too small. I think I'm going to. No, I think I am. I'm going to use my little white way of doing it. You can see I'm using white. What colour is it? Oh, Chinese white it sounds. Probably not the colour that I would have chosen actually. I would have. I've got 2 tubes here and I've picked up the wrong ones. 2 secs. It's not the. I want something a bit more opaque. Doorbell's going to ring now because the Amazon man's turned up, but I've got menials downstairs that can deal with all that sort of thing. So yeah, so I'm going to draw, do my figure initially in white. So I'm going to go 2 tool. You might not be able to see that on screen, but you will in a little while because when it's dry. Let's just put the body in white for a minute. I've got I need to make my brush thin. Get an edge on it. And I've got a little fella here holding hands with his dad or his mum. It's not perfect, but it doesn't. That'll do. Dum 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 dum. Just while I've got white on there, I was toying with the idea of introducing some little highlights on the top here. Perhaps just take the edge off the brush. Why not have a few little can just put a few on, and if it doesn't feel right, I can wash them out just clean water. You could even put a little highlight down the edge of the tree. Just make it a little bit more interesting. We'll stick to one side. Just a few bits. And why not? Just adds a bit of extra sparkle here and there. And not forgetting my stars as well. We can tighten them up, but we can spend quite a bit of time doing that later. Starry, starry night. Now, just put the hairdryer quickly on that, on the figures. Ugh. Quite surreal, isn't it? I clean this white off my brush, and I've still got loads of that. Well, enough, shall we say, of that really dark mix that I made up for the bottom and the tree. So now I'm just going to go. I keep doing this to my brush because it puts a fine chisel edge on it, which helps. And I'm just going to paint the figures in. But just take it down, leave some of the white on the right hand side, left hand side, sorry. Maybe not so much with the smaller figure. And it just sort of shows them off a little bit more. Needs a bit more of an edge on it, that one. Delicately, delicate, delicate. Less is more. You can just, I need to put my, I need better glasses. I can't, so small I can hardly see this. And we'll call that just tighten up some of these more grassy bits. And the bit where I splashed it with my arm. And apart, maybe a little bit of tidying up at some stage. I'll just go away and look at it and think, maybe, shall I? It is possible. I'll do it because I'm brave. To get some yellow and some blue. I don't know why I'm there, but my brush is so dirty now that I can't get clean colour. Let's just wipe that out. Just want some yellow and a dollop of blue. Give me a nice made up green. And I just think I might just take a smaller brush, mix a bit, and just put some hints of green in amongst this dark, because even though it's pitch dark, you should be able to see at least some sort of green, a green tinge to it. I want to make it look like it's grass. So I'm just going to blend it in with my finger. The rigger is probably a better way of doing it. Rigger, just lie it on its side and spread it about. Could actually just come down a bit. Pretend there's a bit of reflection on the tree. Just hints that something's going on. That's all I want to do. But we've got plenty of the dark just to tighten it up here or there. I think for want of some clean water in a minute and perhaps a little bit of tightening up later, don't think I'm far off getting at least rescued the image from yesterday where it looked really terrible. I think I've got some mounts here that just tidy it up a bit. Almost a picture. Yeah, I like that. Almost. Better, that's 1,000 squillion times better than I had before. So it's one of those moments where I'm just gonna leave it alone and see how it reacts to my feelings later on today. But there you go. So sometimes what is a relaxing, fun, anything goes picture ends up being harder, well, more challenging than your normal comfort zone. Or yeah, I had great plans of just chilling out, but as you can tell, after a couple of hours of videos, it's turned into a bit of a marathon. But yeah, almost happy with that. Thanks for watching. Happy painting. I hope it's inspired you to carry on to having a go at yourself. Certainly me. I'm going to have another go at this at some point, or expand on this idea. Keep the brushes wet. Cheers.